Now, we all know Gene Deal has been very vocal dealing with the Diddy stuff because he knows so much. I came across this video, you guys not going to believe it. They are saying the judge in the Diddy situation is releasing Gene Deal's footage. Well, you guys, that's going to be something epic. Now, in this video, I don't know if it's true. You guys know this is a reaction video, and I need you to let me know. Do you guys think this is true or not? Okay, I need you guys to put it down in the comment section, baby. You are watching The Messy Sweet Spot. I am your host, Miss Gigi with the T. So let's hear what they have to say. They are saying when they heard what Gene Deal had to say about all this, people were turning pale. Okay. That's something. That's what I call a reaction. Let's listen here.
Diddy's former bodyguard has been putting him on blast for years, and now his receipts are finally being seen by the jury. Sources inside say several jurors turned straight pale watching the footage, while Diddy himself was visibly trembling.
You could tell he was nervous, and he said it in the courtroom. Excuse me, Judge, I'm a little bit nervous.
And that was just the beginning. More testimonies unsealed by the judge dropped bombshells that could put Diddy away for a very long time. Let's get into it. Gene Deal's years of warnings finally reached the courtroom. The Manhattan federal courtroom was straight buzzing with tension as prosecutors dropped evidence that former Diddy bodyguard Gene Deal has been trying to put on blast for years. The bodyguard's nonstop warnings about Diddy's alleged behavior have suddenly got everybody paying attention as this high-profile case unfolds. People in the courtroom say several pieces of evidence lined up exactly with what Deal's been saying in interviews, causing mad reactions from jurors and making Diddy look shook. Gene Deal, who rolled with Diddy for years handling his security, is looking like he might be the prosecution's secret weapon. For the longest, Deal has been speaking out about wild behavior he claims he witnessed while working for the bad boy boss stuff that people used to dismiss as just a former employee being salty, but now looking mad prophetic with all these federal charges and mounting evidence. For real though, Deal hasn't been playing about his willingness to testify against his former boss. In recent interviews, he's made it crystal clear he has zero problem taking the stand, saying Diddy let all that money, power, respect go to his head. Even though he's getting hate mail accusing him of trying to take down a black man, Deal ain't backing down from speaking his truth. His claims include some serious allegations about abuse, especially involving Kim Porter, Diddy's ex and mother of his kids. Deal has claimed he witnessed Diddy putting hands on Porter, including one wild incident where she allegedly had to cut Diddy's wrist to escape from him. Beyond that personal drama, Deal has made some heavy claims about how Diddy allegedly planned to get the girls from Danity Kane hooked on drugs and pimp them out to his friends. These allegations match up with what former members like Aubrey O'Day have been saying, backing up Cassie Ventura's claims and hinting there's way more tea to spill. Deal's insider knowledge is hitting different as the trial moves forward, with other witnesses' testimony seeming to back up elements of what Deal's been claiming. Lauren LaRosa, a journalist covering the trial for The Breakfast Club, described how Diddy's whole vibe has changed as the damaging testimony keeps coming.
But you said, how does Diddy look?
They look stressed out.
He's definitely a lot thinner. Face is very pale. A lot of gray hair. Some black, but a lot of gray hair. You could tell he was nervous, and he said it in the courtroom. And he had asked to go to the bathroom. He was like, "Excuse me, Judge. I'm a little bit nervous." But you could tell at one point in time, I saw, and I was watching him very closely. I saw like his hand shaking a bit, but very involved. He's fighting for his life, literally. Like, I mean, he came with like a case of paperwork. He was on the tablet sitting next to Brian Steele. He's reading every juror profile as things are happening.
This description is night and day from the boss level image Diddy's always flexed. The man who used to call himself a savage who gets whatever I want, now looking thin, pale, and shaking while his entire empire crumbles. The real goal for prosecutors might be Deal's inside info on Diddy's legal moves. In a recent interview, Deal put Diddy on blast for curving plea deals from prosecutors, going against what his own lawyers are telling him.
But long story short is that he need to take his counsel advice. Because if he think he's going to get out of this from the federal government, he out his mind. They in the process of plea bargaining, trying to do a plea bargain session with him, and he's not taking it.
Deal broke down how this stubbornness probably explains why some of Diddy's legal team have bounced.
That's probably why one of the lawyers jumped off the case. Remember Benjamin Bradford, his first lawyer with the Cassie situation? He said, give her the $10 million and make this go away, brother. He ended up giving her $30 million.
This T, if it's legit, shows a pattern of Diddy ignoring solid legal advice that could have made his situation less catastrophic. Deal thinks prosecutors probably offered a deal that would get Diddy a substantial bid, but at least give him a chance to breathe free air again someday. But Diddy's refusal to face reality has him looking at potentially spending the rest of his life locked up. The trial, which kicked off with jury selection on May 5th, 2025, has already featured some wild testimony painting a disturbing picture of how Diddy allegedly moved. Israel Flores, an LAPD officer who worked security at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016, testified about responding to a distress call after Combs allegedly put hands on Cassie Ventura. Flores described seeing Ventura with a purple eye, trying to bounce, while Combs allegedly tried to throw cash at the situation in what looked like a bribe attempt. Daniel Phillip, a male review manager, came with equally disturbing testimony, describing paid sexual encounters with Cassie Ventura in 2012, with Combs allegedly directing the whole scene and recording it. Phillip claimed Diddy held his driver's license as a threat and testified he saw the mogul dragging Ventura by her hair. All this testimony lines up crazy well with what Deal's been saying for years, making his accounts look more credible and potentially making him a devastating witness if he takes the stand. His knowledge goes beyond single incidents to cover the broader patterns prosecutors are trying to establish for their racketeering case. Diddy's facing 5 serious charges, including racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation for prostitution, charges that could have him doing life if convicted. The prosecution's whole case centers on showing this wasn't just random wild behavior, but a pattern spanning decades, using his bad boy empire and associates to facilitate and cover up alleged criminal activities. As the trial continues and more witnesses step up, Gene Deal's years of warnings about Diddy's alleged behavior have gone from being dismissed as hate to potentially crucial testimony. For someone who used to protect Diddy physically, Deal might now be instrumental in making sure he finally faces accountability for actions that were hidden behind wealth, power, and a carefully crafted public image. Inside the Bad Boy Network Deal's revelations about Diddy's world. As someone who was in the cut with the inner circle of the Bad Boy Empire, Deal has dropped knowledge about the systematic nature of the behavior prosecutors are trying to prove, not just random incidents, but an organized pattern that could back up the racketeering charge at the heart of the case. Deal's revelations go beyond just Diddy himself to include claims about a broader network, including family members. In one particularly explosive interview, Deal made some wild allegations about Diddy's mother, Janice Combs, suggesting that certain behaviors might run in the family.
I spoke to a man, Mr. Brown, who used to go to the freak offs. And this guy lives in Georgia right now. And he told me that he was a stick-up kid back in the day. And one time he had robbed one of their spots. And he went back and he had got the money and gave them their money back and everything like that. And he knew Miss Combs and he knew about her and her freak offs and everything like that. We had always thought that she had a modeling agency, but it wasn't a modeling agency. It was more of a brothel that she ran for high-profile drug dealers and athletes.
Deal then directly connected these allegations to why he bounced from Diddy's employment.
You could tell by I could tell that Miss Combs at the time, and actually saw her, like young guys. She came at me a couple of times back in my heyday, before the extra 75 pounds back then. And the reason I left Bad Boy wasn't only because of her advances, it's because I got tired of a lot of the bullshit with her and her son. So to hear that she ran a brothel, giving parties and sex parties, you understand? It's easy to say he get it from his mama.
This testimony, if presented in court, could help establish a broader context for the alleged criminal enterprise, not just individual acts by Diddy, but a deeper cultural pattern within his immediate circle. Such context could be crucial in convincing jurors that the behavior in question was systematic rather than situational. Deal's insider perspective also provides insight into how the infamous freak-offs, what the prosecution calls these drug-fueled sex parties, were allegedly set up and controlled. While other witnesses have described these events as attendees, Deal potentially knows about the behind-the-scenes planning, logistics, and true intentions. One witness who claimed to have hit up one of these events at Diddy's Star Island property described how they confiscated phones and locked them up to make sure nobody could document what went down inside.
So we arrived, security guard patted us down. They put our phone in this little bubble case. So the bubble case is closed. They can't get unlocked until we walk out. So as we're in there, the only way of us taking any type of pictures is if we get in the photo booth. He has like a Team Love photo booth or whatever.
The witness described how they cherry-picked who got to enter certain areas, allegedly where the wildest activities were popping off.
So I'm walking around or whatever. So one of his sons, I'm not going to tell you which one, but it was like recruiting like whoever they wanted to go inside the house, because the freak off is inside the house and in the backyard.
As someone who ran security for Diddy, Deal would know all about these procedures, who was calling the shots, how events were secured, what measures they took to keep everything on the low, and how they handled potential problems. This type of operational knowledge could help prosecutors establish that this was an organized and planned criminal enterprise, not just random wild behavior. Deal has also broken down Diddy's approach to legal challenges, suggesting that his current situation stems partly from a pattern of ignoring solid legal advice. Deal indicated that Diddy is continuing this stubborn behavior even now, curving plea agreements that might give him some hope of not dying behind bars.
He's not taking the lawyer's advice. 9 times out of 10, they probably got him a good plea bargain. Yo, listen to me. We can give you 15 years. 10 or 15 years. You do that, you come out, you only have to do like 12, 13. Come off to a halfway house. You still can live some of your life out as a free man. He don't want to hear it. So it is what it is.
Deal showed he understands how federal prosecutions typically go down, noting that the government usually prefers plea deals to lengthy trials.
You got to realize that the trial is in May. This is March. They start the trial in May. The first 2 or 3 months before the trial, the lawyers are working behind scenes trying to plea bargain or try to work up some agreement before they get to the judge. The federal government do not want to go to court. 9 times out of 10, they want a plea bargain with you.
This assessment matches what legal experts say about how the feds move. Charges are often stacked strategically, with more serious counts held back to push defendants toward plea deals. Deal warned that Diddy's refusal to accept a plea could lead to even more charges. You understand? You accept the plea, you accept the time, you go ahead, you sell your government money, you save them time and effort and manpower. If you don't believe that that white guy was a plant, then something is wrong with you. He done sold them enough drugs, but they haven't hit him with that charge. He continued with the prediction about potential additional charges.
They haven't did him with that charge yet, or that we know of. If you don't believe that they're going to try to hit him with those guns in there, they saving all that for last. The drugs, the guns. They'll do another superseding indictment and add those two up if he don't take the plea. If he don't take the plea bargain to the sex trafficking or whatever, stuff like that, they're going to say, okay, let's add the guns to it and let's add the drugs to it.
These insights show not just knowledge of Diddy's personal behavior, but a sophisticated understanding of the legal mess he's facing now. Such context could help jurors understand the broader pattern of behavior and decision-making that led to the current charges. Deal's willingness to speak out despite the hate and potential career consequences signals a shift away from the culture of silence that has historically protected powerful figures in the entertainment industry. His readiness to testify represents a major break from the code of silence that allegedly protected Diddy for years, potentially encouraging others with knowledge to step up as well. As the trial continues, Deal's potential testimony looms as a serious threat to Diddy's defense strategy. Unlike many accusers who had limited dealings with Diddy, Deal was part of his inner circle for years, privy to private moments and behind-the-scenes operations that few others witnessed. His cooperation with authorities could provide crucial context for individual incidents, helping to establish the pattern of behavior necessary to prove the racketeering charge. For prosecutors building a case around systemic behavior rather than isolated events, an insider like Deal is pure gold. Someone who can connect seemingly separate incidents into a coherent narrative of organized criminal activity. As more witnesses take the stand and more evidence drops, Deal's years of speaking out about what he allegedly witnessed may finally get validated in a court of law. The collapse of an empire, and the cost of silence. The evidence coming out in Sean Diddy Combs' trial is the end result of a long process that started way before the feds raided his cribs or prosecutors hit him with charges. For decades, rumors circulated in certain circles but rarely got mainstream attention. The wall of silence protecting Diddy started crumbling on November 16, 2023, when his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit in Manhattan's federal court. Her 35-page complaint accused Combs of physical abuse, sexual assault, and sex trafficking during their decade-long relationship from 2007 to 2018. Though the lawsuit was settled out of court just one day after filing, with terms undisclosed and the case dismissed with prejudice, it permanently changed the narrative around Diddy. According to Gene Deal, Diddy's decision to settle, reportedly for $30 million rather than the $10 million his lawyer allegedly recommended, showed a pattern of poor judgment that's continued into his current legal strategy. The settlement didn't stop further accusations from coming. By November 2024, the one-year anniversary of Ventura's filing, at least 28 more lawsuits had been filed, with allegations ranging from rape and assault to sex trafficking. The sheer volume and consistency of these claims painted a picture of systematic behavior spanning decades. The situation escalated dramatically on March 25, 2024, when federal agents ran up on Diddy's mansions in Los Angeles and Miami as part of a sex trafficking investigation. These high-profile raids yielded significant evidence, including AR-15-style burners, large-capacity magazines, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, items that would later feature prominently in the indictment against him. 6 months after the raids, on September 16, 2024, Diddy got snatched up in New York City on federal charges including sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation for prostitution. The indictment detailed what prosecutors termed freak-offs, alleged drug-fueled sex parties where victims were coerced into sexual acts through violence, intimidation, and drugging. Diddy pleaded not guilty but was denied bail, deemed a flight risk, and has been locked up at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn since his arrest. Perhaps the most damning piece of evidence in the case against Diddy dropped on May 17, 2024, when CNN released surveillance footage from 2016 showing him physically assaulting Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway. The video showed Diddy grabbing, shoving, and kicking Ventura, visual confirmation of the abuse she had alleged in her lawsuit. 2 days after the video leaked, Diddy issued a public apology taking full responsibility for his actions, a rare admission of wrongdoing in a case where he's otherwise maintained his innocence. This video evidence has been allowed in the current trial, giving jurors hard proof of at least one incident of physical abuse. Its impact can't be overstated, as it transforms what might otherwise be dismissed as a he said, she said situation into a documented case of violence. Throughout this unfolding scandal, Gene Deal has been consistently putting Diddy on blast about his behavior. His willingness to speak publicly about what he allegedly witnessed during his employment is night and day compared to the silence maintained by many others in Diddy's circle. Deal's real talk about his experiences working with Diddy provides valuable context for understanding how the alleged criminal enterprise operated and how it was able to continue for so long. The civil lawsuits have continued to stack up, with over 63 filed by April 2025, involving allegations from more than 100 women and men. In October 2024, lawyer Tony Busby announced over 100 new assault allegations, including 25 minors, with cases involving victims as young as 9 years old. By February 2025, 10 more lawsuits were filed before the Gender-Motivated Violence Act deadline, including claims by a male escort and Kirk Burroughs. The consistency across decades of allegations from individuals who likely had no connection with each other adds mad credibility to the prosecution's argument that these weren't isolated incidents but part of a systematic pattern of behavior. This is exactly the type of pattern that Deal's testimony could help establish, connecting individual incidents into a coherent narrative of organized criminal activity. Beyond the legal implications, the case raises deep questions about the culture of silence that allegedly protected Diddy for decades. Deal's decision to speak out despite the hate and potential career blowback signals a shift away from this culture, potentially encouraging others with knowledge to step up as well. His readiness to testify represents a significant break from the code of silence that historically protected protected powerful figures in the entertainment industry. Deal's insights into how Diddy's world operated provide a window into the mechanics of power and exploitation. His claims about the involvement of family members, including allegations about Janice Combs, suggest a deeper cultural pattern rather than individual misconduct. Such context could be crucial in persuading jurors that the behavior in question was systematic rather than situational. The trial, which kicked off with jury selection on May 5, 2025, is expected to continue for approximately 8 weeks. As more witnesses take the stand and more evidence drops, the full extent of the alleged criminal enterprise will continue to unfold. For Diddy, facing charges that collectively could have him locked up for life if convicted, the stakes couldn't be higher. The collapse of Diddy's carefully built empire serves as a stark reminder of the potential cost of unchecked power and the importance of accountability. For decades, his wealth, influence, and carefully crafted public image shielded him from scrutiny. Now, as witnesses like Gene Deal come forward with their stories and evidence piles up, that shield has crumbled, leaving him exposed to the full force of the justice system. This case represents more than just the downfall of one powerful figure. It signals a potential shift in how the entertainment industry deals with issues of power, exploitation, and abuse. The willingness of individuals like Deal to speak out despite potential consequences challenges the culture of silence that has historically protected powerful figures, suggesting a future where wealth and fame provide less immunity from accountability. As the trial continues and more details emerge, the full impact of Gene Deal's cooperation with authorities remains to be seen. What's clear, however, is that his years of speaking out about what he allegedly witnessed have contributed to a broader narrative that prosecutors are now attempting to prove in court. For someone who once protected Diddy physically, Deal may now play a significant role in ensuring he faces accountability for actions long hidden behind a carefully crafted public image. The judge's decision to admit certain evidence and testimony into the proceedings suggests the significance of the material to the case. While no actual footage from Deal has been officially released by Judge Subramanian, as the clickbait title suggests, the bodyguard's persistent warnings about Diddy's alleged behavior have taken on new significance as the criminal trial unfolds. As more witnesses take the stand and more evidence is presented, the question isn't just whether Diddy will be convicted, but how many others might get caught up in what prosecutors allege was a wide-ranging criminal enterprise spanning decades. For those who allegedly suffered at Diddy's hands, this trial represents a chance for validation and closure after years of silence. For the music industry and entertainment world more broadly, it serves as a powerful reminder that even the most seemingly untouchable figures may eventually face accountability. And for Gene Deal, whose warnings were long dismissed or ignored, it offers potential vindication of his decision to keep it real regardless of the consequences. As this legal drama continues to unfold, one thing is certain: the carefully constructed image that Sean Diddy Combs maintained for decades has been irrevocably altered. Whatever the outcome of the trial, his legacy has been permanently reshaped by the allegations, evidence, and testimony that have emerged. And in that reshaping, the persistent voice of Gene Deal, once dismissed, now potentially pivotal, serves as a reminder of the power of speaking out, even when the truth is uncomfortable or unwelcome. If you love this video, click on the card showing on your screen for more videos like this. According to his former bodyguard, Gene Deal, when Diddy was a free man, he used to perform crazy initiation rituals.
On the third day, they would drink, party, be merry, and the men would have sex with each other.
The Lil Rod court documents show how Diddy, alongside Universal Music Group executives and other associates, are in a gang that allegedly lets Diddy groom and kill artists like Usher, Bieber, and Biggie. But now that he's in prison, the same prison Epstein died in, these initiation rituals he used to blackmail and groom people have taken on a much darker tone. Here's the truth of the prison called Hell on Earth: Diddy's house of terrors and rituals. Tragically, the downfall of music producer and rapper P. Diddy is being accompanied by a series of little dirty secrets dancing in the light of the day. One of the horrifying secret occurrences is his gang initiation ritual, which has been characterized by paying homage to certain spirits at midnight during the full moon, and a night of endless homosexual activities by the initiates.
People who believe in the cult was looking for that moon on 12/12 at 12 p.m., 12 a.m. And they were doing spiritual rituals at that time
Who is this dude and how did he know this? This is Gene Deal, a former celebrity bodyguard who has done extensive protection work for Bad Boy Records and was P. Diddy's personal bodyguard for a number of years. He was even on the scene as Puffy's personal bodyguard on The Night Rapper, the notorious Big, was shot and killed. Now that you know who Gene Deal is, let's proceed with his shocking revelation about Diddy's wild ritual. The celebrity bodyguard explained that on the last day of the ritual, after the full moon has been sighted and the seasons are changed, that's when people
they paid homage to certain sacrifices and homage to certain idols. And on the third day, they would drink, party, be merry, and the men would have sex with each other.
Shockingly, Gene Deal is not holding back any information. He is spilling all the beans about the ritual process Sean Diddy Combs indulges in. And you heard him. On the third day, he explained that the men would exchange gifts as they drink and marry, then wrap up the night by having sex with each other.
If you don't believe it, look it up for yourself.
Coming straight up from the comment section, this dude has a whole lot to say about the ritual Gene Deal was talking about. The ritual you mentioned is called the cremation of care, and traditionally a baby or child is burnt as a sacrifice to deity called Moloch. Most elites celebrate this at the Bohemian Grove. The root of this go back to Roman festivals dedicated to the god Satanius made popular by Emperor Caligula. It's more based in Satanism than what most people call paganism. Just wow. However, Diddy's former personal bodyguard is not the only one running their mouth about the extremely shocking lifestyle they experienced at Diddy's. Musician Usher, who was entrusted in Diddy's custody at the age of 13, said he saw very curious things when he lived with the music mogul. The You Got It Bad musician, 45, appeared on the Howard Stern show in 2016, where he opened up about his time living with Diddy for a year when he was 13 years old.
It was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
Usher then recalled that there were famous artists like Biggie Smalls, Lil' Kim, Craig Mack, Faith Evans, and Mary J. Blige, who were also hanging around at the time. When asked if he was staying up until 4 a.m. partying with Diddy and his entourage, Usher said he could and actually stayed up longer than them. In a different interview with Rolling Stone in 2004, Usher revealed that P. Diddy exposed him to a different lifestyle, specifically to a different style of sex. He explained, "It's so hot in the industry, man. There was always girls around. You'd open a door and see somebody doing it, or several people in a room having an you never knew what was going to happen." In February 2024, the musician and stepper also opened up to People's Magazine about the crazy lifestyle he experienced at Diddy's Flavor Camp. He recalled how he was able to meet the big tops of the industry at a very early age and also witnessed the making of some of the greatest albums in the industry. He recalled, "I can remember Outkast making their first records and being able to hear Rico Wade work on these songs, literally sleeping in this man's living room, being in the dungeon, just kind of being around and just trying to figure out who's who." But here's where it gets crazier. After experiencing most of the fun of his life and meeting the right connections in the industry as a young boy, Howard Stern asked the musician if he would like to send his son to one of those Diddy's Flavor Camps to acquire the experience he did. His response revealed a deeper meaning.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
No.
Hold up. Did you see how straight up he came with that? No, he is not about to make the same mistake of sending his offspring to experience what he did. These two comments represent the reaction of most people to this 2016 interview. This person reiterated, "Would you ever send your son to Puffy Camp?" No, he is laughing, but you can see the pain in his eyes. It still haunts him. He got passed around by the entire industry. It's not worth sacrificing your soul for silver and gold. And another person added, him answering no to the question at the end tell me everything I need to know about what Usher experienced, shaking my head. To be honest, most people think that hell no was very telling. In another light, producer Lil Rod's grooming process into Diddy's lifestyle is perhaps one of the craziest experiences of his life. It appears that when Diddy picked up the phone and called Lil Rod to be part of the brains behind his The Love album, his life has not been the same again. The initiation ritual process was terrifying, shocking, and diabolical. Sadly, he endured all of that crazy stuff because it came with a promise of a Grammy.
I took a year off straight working on this album. That album is the Love album, Off the Grid by Diddy. And it's Grammy nominated right now as we speak. I should be celebrating, but the truth is I'm not.
Rodney Lil Rod Jones Jr. is speaking out for the first time since filing a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs in February. In the lawsuit, Lil Rod alleges Combs sexually harassed, drugged, and threatened him while he traveled and lived with the rapper between September 2022 and November 2023. In an interview with Rolling Stone, the 38-year-old music producer said he feared for his safety and his life. He also tagged Diddy as a monster. Lil Rod also alleges that Diddy did not pay him for his services after producing 9 songs off the album. I'm broke. I have no source of income right now. Every month I'm trying to figure out how the bills are going to get paid. Here I am standing up for justice, for what I believe is right for my life, and I'm being punished for that. I'm blackballed for sure, he said in the interview. Anyway, before we go deep into Lil Rod's allegations and lawsuit, take a look at this creepy footage of Diddy with young Justine Bieber detailing how the events of their next 48 hours together was supposed to be unfolded.
He's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose.
And I remember at the time, most people were concerned about what an adult was doing with a 14-year-old in an undisclosed location and doing undisclosed activities. However, in the most shocking turn of events, an inmate from prison could not settle with the traumatic events he experienced during his time in a Michigan nightclub with Diddy in 1997. So you know what he did? He filed a $100 million lawsuit against the rapper and won based on default judgment because neither Diddy nor his lawyer showed up for the virtual hearing. The mind-blowing case was set in motion by Derek Cardello Smith, an inmate at Ernest C. Brooks Correctional Facility, Michigan, who is known for his long history of challenging the judicial system with civil lawsuits. Derek Cardello Smith is currently serving 75% of jail time for criminal sexual conduct and kidnapping charges, but did not allow his jail time to restrain him from seeking justice after being sexually assaulted by the entertainment mogul nearly 3 decades ago. Hold up. The lawsuit claims that Cardello Smith and rapper P. Diddy met while he was working at a Detroit area restaurant in 1997. During a night of drinking and weed smoking, they reportedly had sex with a group of women, according to the suit. Cardello Smith said he felt a man's hand touching him, which he claims was Diddy's. According to 51-year-old Cardello Smith, I then went to get another drink and Sean asked me if I needed something else. I said no, and he said, "Here, drink this one." And I thought it was another glass of Jim Beam, so I took it because I had sat one down in the other room, and then I drank some more. And I stayed sitting there, and I began getting drowsy and started to pass out. And then Sean Combs said to me, "I added a little something to it for you. I will get that from you anyway, one way or another." And then I passed out.
And he made me a financial offer of $2.3 million to allow what happened to me to go away.
Now here's where it gets spicy. Cardello Smith then provided prison facility information with Diddy's name logged into the visitation record, which allowed him to claim that P. Diddy offered him $2.3 million to dismiss the lawsuit after he filed it. During the August hearing, Derek Cardello Smith told the court that P. Diddy persuaded him to drop the $100 million lawsuit and accept an out-of-court settlement, saying, "You know how we get down." Cardello then replied, "I disagree with how you get down." In that regard, the court granted his motion for a restraining order.
Or your motion for a temporary restraining order was granted. I've signed it. And so we'll get that processed and back to you. And then you'll have to obviously serve that on the parties.
However, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, refuted the judge's statement about his client being properly served with the lawsuit. He said that his client looks forward to having this judgment swiftly dismissed. If their claims stick, the case would be called back, and Cardello Smith would have to prove his allegations and claims in court, the mogul in custody. Some people said the simultaneous home raids by federal agents on 2 of Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles earlier this year were signs that the rapper would soon be going down R. Kelly's path. Well, they were right, because on Monday, the embattled music producer and rapper was arrested in a Manhattan hotel in New York City, barely 24 hours after the news of the $100 million judgment against him went viral. At the time of the arrest, it was unclear what the charges against him were because he was arrested based on a sealed indictment by a federal grand jury. According to TMZ, just a couple of hours before the rapper was arrested, he was confidently strolling the streets of New York City, greeting and taking selfies with fans alongside his son, Christian King Combs. Sources reported to TMZ that the rapper's arrest was scheduled for Tuesday morning, but due to some complications, Homeland Security surprised the rapper in a Midtown hotel where he was staying and arrested him based on a sealed indictment issued by the Southern District of New York. It has been confirmed that Diddy was taken into federal custody in Lower Manhattan. It appears the action was taken in connection with the ongoing criminal investigation into alleged sex trafficking and other offenses that led to search warrants being issued and executed at Diddy's homes in Beverly Hills and Miami. Miami. A courtroom sketch shows P. Diddy in his first courtroom appearance following the indictment where the charges against him were read and litigated. According to the 14-page federal grand jury indictment, Sean Diddy has been charged with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. According to news reports, as expected, at the hearing in Manhattan, the rapper pleaded not guilty to all the charges labeled against him and has tried to bond his way out of jail, but to no avail.
Diddy Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
It was then reported that the music producer spent his first night behind bars in one of the most notorious jail facilities in the world, Hell on Earth. This facility's name feels so intense and suggestive of the horrible living conditions as described by Inside Edition news reporter Les Trent.
How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here.
Unfortunately, for someone like Diddy, who had enjoyed a life of luxury, comfort, and freak-offs, he would definitely find a hard time adapting in his new environment, where he has only a half-inch mattress without a pillow, plastic chair, and just 5 fit spaces to move around. Reports say that Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, told the judge that the facility is inhumane and a total tragedy. Hence, he is trying all he can to keep Diddy out of jail. His attorneys were so eager to keep him out of jail to the extent they are offering his $48 million mansion in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Inside Edition reported that Diddy's lawyers offered to restrict female visitors from visiting his house if granted bail, except for his mother, sisters, and mothers of his children. However, the judge refused to bend. After spending a night in Hell on Earth, CBS News reported that the music mogul walked into the courtroom for his bail appeal hearing looking calm and humble. However, despite the confidence and the calm fronting he walked in with, the federal judge denied him bail again, saying that if released, Diddy is more likely to tamper with evidence or witnesses. This is largely because prosecutors accused Combs of witness tampering, saying at the hearing yesterday that the rap mogul's employees tried to ensure his ex-girlfriend Cassie and hotel employees wouldn't say anything about a beating at a Los Angeles hotel 8 years ago. They argued that video of the assault, which captured Diddy kicking and stomping on the singer Cassie at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016, disappeared from the hotel's server before it was later obtained and published by CNN. According to authorities, bags of pink powder were found in Diddy's hotel room during his arrest. After Diddy flew to New York to await arrest 2 weeks ago on the advice of his lawyers, bags of pink powder were discovered in his hotel room. Although the powder was not tested, the prosecutors said it appeared to be narcotics and that similar bags previously seized at Combs' properties during the home raids tested positive for drugs, including ecstasy. Note that during the same raid, 1,000 bottles of baby oils were also retrieved from Diddy's residence. It is why some people think it would be hard for Diddy to get out of this mess because he spent his entire career working tirelessly to retire in prison. As evidence, authorities have interviewed more than 50 witnesses and collected dozens of cell phones, laptops, and hard drives, and they have a video that they claim shows the coerced sex and heinous acts that Diddy is accused of orchestrating. Hold up, guys. Let's not forget Lil Rod Jones' February lawsuit against Diddy. According to producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones' 73-page court document, due to his job description, which required filming P. Diddy at all times, he has secured 100 hours of footage showing P. Diddy alongside his associates and guests engaging in a series of illegal activities, which includes the use of ecstasy drugs and distribution of unregistered firearms. His lawsuit alleges that the A-list rapper has been involved in sex trafficking and assault on Lil Rod and other victims, including minors. Lil Rod's accusations, as well as the grand jury indictment, portray the rapper as a horrifying abuser and monster. However, in his defense, Diddy's lawyer warned that his client should not, in any way, be mentioned in the same sentence as some of the country's most notorious criminals. According to NBC News, the music mogul's defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said Combs is not disgraced singer R. Kelly, sex cult leader Keith Raniere, or accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Mark Agnifilo objected to the claims of the federal grand jury indictment that his client committed sex trafficking and other sexual assault-related charges. He referred to Diddy's crime as only cheating and being unfaithful over a dark period. He told the court, "This is different. These were consenting adults." Funnily, he added, "This is evidence not of sex trafficking, but of being caught being unfaithful." In his argument to grant bail for Diddy, Mark reminded the court he was in a 10-year loving relationship through dark periods. Although the first trial seemed to have gone out of their favor, Diddy's lawyer is still hopeful for bail in order to get his client out of hell on earth. He revealed that the rapper planned on surrendering to authorities before he was arrested in New York. While talking to reporters outside the courtroom, Mark Agnifilo said, "Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence." Then he proceeded to assert his claims that Diddy is not afraid and he would fight to the finish. There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything. Why was Diddy arrested?
All right, happening right now, hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs is in a federal courtroom this morning. The indictment was just unsealed, revealing that Combs is facing charges of trafficking and racketeering.
To be honest, Diddy's arrest did not meet anyone as a surprise. The beginning of 2024 kicked off with a waving flag announcing Diddy's tragic descent. I mean, with the spree of lawsuits and assault-related allegations that were fast rising against the rapper like his hits on Billboard Hot 100, it was only a matter of time before the feds came for him. Reading through the 14-page indictment was a jaw-dropping moment for me, as the charges against the rapper are too heavy for the mouth to hold. Nevertheless, I will break it down for you. The grand jury indictment against Sean Diddy Combs alleges 3 serious charges centered on the rapper's lifestyle dating back to the 90s, when the applause and attention were all on him. On count 1, the grand jury charged him with racketeering conspiracy, which alleges that the music mogul has, over the decades of his career, abused, threatened, and coerced men and women around him to fulfill his wild desires while simultaneously protecting his reputation. Just like many other people, you might be wondering how the rapper was able to do all these extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile things and still appear like a saint bearing the name Love. Well, according to the indictment, to do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engage in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Disturbingly, P. Diddy's pattern of abuse hinges on the manipulation of women and other people around him to participate in highly orchestrated performances with commercial workers, most times for his pleasure. But this is where I knew the rapper would be gone for long. The federal grand jury has tagged most of the businesses and enterprises led by Diddy as a criminal enterprise. And you know what that means, right? According to the indictment, Sean Diddy Combs and other known and unknown associates are members of a criminal enterprise called the Combs Enterprise. The federal grand jury alleges that since 2008, up to the time of their filing, these members and associates of the Combs Enterprise engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other activities, trafficking and interstate transportation for the purpose of. According to the indictment, the purpose of the enterprise includes fulfilling the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to Combs' gratification, including through the exploitation of women and the use of commercial workers. On count 2 of the federal grand jury indictment, P. Diddy is charged with trafficking. The grand jury alleges that between the period of 2009 to 2018, in the Southern District of New York, where Diddy's enterprise is stationed, and elsewhere, Sean Diddy Combs engaged in interstate and foreign commerce in which he knowingly recruited, enticed, and transported a person tagged as Victim 1 to engage in commercial, with disregard to the fact that Victim 1 was engaging in commercial due to force, fraud, and coercion. On count 3, the grand jury charged the embattled music producer and A-list rapper Sean Diddy Combs with transportation to engage in. According to the indictment, between the period of 2009 and 2024, Diddy, who has been tagged as the defendant, knowingly transported an individual in interstate and foreign commerce with the intent that the individual engages in prostitution. The grand jury further alleged that the music mogul willfully caused the transportation of female victims and commercial workers in interstate and foreign commerce on multiple occasions with the intent that they engage in. It is not a surprise to know that most people believe that Diddy's arrest, the federal grand jury indictment, and the previous home raids were attracted by the horrifying 2016 hotel hallway footage obtained by CNN in which Diddy was seen physically abusing ex-girlfriend Cassie. According to CNN, the video was from an incident in March 2016. It captures multiple angles. Cassie, whose name is Cassandra Ventura, alleged in a federal lawsuit in November that Combs and physically abused her, including punching, beating, kicking, and stomping her over the course of their relationship. However, shockingly, the lawsuit was settled the day after it was filed. Cassie Ventura anchored her courage to call Diddy out on New York's Adult Survivors Act, which allows victims of domestic abuse assault to make a case regardless of when it happened. According to her, with the expiration of New York's Adult Survivors Act fast approaching, it became clear that this was an opportunity to speak up about the trauma I have experienced and that I will be recovering from for the rest of my life. In the video, Cassie Ventura exits a hotel room and walks to a bank of elevators. Diddy, holding a towel around his waist, runs down a hall after Ventura. He grabs her by the back of the neck and throws her to the floor. Still holding his towel closed with one hand, he then turns to kick her. The video shows. As Ventura is on the ground, Combs retrieves a purse and suitcase from the floor near the elevators. He turns around and kicks Ventura, again as she lies motionless on the floor. About 4 seconds transpire between the two kicks, according to the video. He then briefly drags Ventura by her sweatshirt toward a room before walking away. After the video was released, Diddy shamefully offered an apology online, claiming that he was in a bad place and he had sought therapy and now fully recovered. But you know what? Just when Diddy thought it was over, another lawsuit slapped him, and then another one. Then they kept coming. I'm sure you still remember the events of February 26, 2024. Yes, Lil Rod filed a lawsuit against his boss, Diddy, in which he alleged that he was subjected to unwanted advances by associates of Diddy at Diddy's direction during his stay in the rapper's house. Disturbingly, he also claims that Diddy forced him to have his workers. According to producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones' 73-page court document, the A-list rapper has been involved in trafficking and assault on Lil Rod himself and other victims, including minors. But here is where it gets crazier. The lawsuit identified rapper 50 Cent's former girlfriend and the mother of one of his children, Daphne Joy, as one of the alleged workers. The lawsuit also alleges that P. Diddy regularly hosted trafficking parties with underage women and illegal drugs, and implies record label executives who looked the other way financially benefited from access to celebrities and dignitaries, including the British royal Prince Harry. However, Prince Harry is not accused of any wrongdoing or of attending parties himself. Without a doubt, Lil Rod's lawsuit feels like a wide, deep, never-ending dungeon dug to bury rapper P. Diddy and everything he had ever worked for. But again, we should not forget that in November 2023, shortly after Cassie's lawsuit, Joey Dickerson Neal filed a lawsuit alleging that Combs assaulted her and secretly recorded the assault while she was a college student in 1991. It seems the rapper's freaky, disgusting escapades date back to the early 90s. According to the lawsuit cited by NBC News, Joey Dickerson Neal claimed that on 3rd December 1991, Diddy asked her out on a dinner date, which she reluctantly agreed to, but that turned out to be the worst day of her life. She claimed that Diddy and abused her, resulting in her being in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. Just like a pattern, her lawsuit also alleges that Diddy recorded the abuse and showed it to his friends and associates. Although she reported the case to the police in New York and New Jersey and also spoke to prosecutors, she was told by her colleagues they were terrified that Combs would retaliate against them and that they would lose future business and music opportunities if they made a statement in support of. Interestingly, according to news reports, between November until present, 3 more women have come forward with lawsuits in the Southern District of New York, alleging that they were assaulted by music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. As a matter of fact, 2 of the women alleged they were minors at the time of the abuse. Interesting times ahead, my fellow. If you love this video, click on the card showing on your screen for more videos.